Hey guys, welcome back to Micho Makes. My name is Micho, and I like to make stuff. Today I've got part number 38 of the Toyota Sprinter Trueno AE86 built by DeAgostini. This is the 1/8 scale massive model that we're building together. Without further ado, let's jump right into this one. Okay, starting off, we've got our cover here. We've got our familiar frames. We've got our set here. And we've got our book. Let's take a peek at the book real quick. Make sure everything's in focus for you. Right. AE86 Festival in Okayama in 2022, it looks like. These are so cool. Being able to know that Japan still has this car culture where, you know, kind of old cars like this still have these meetups. I think it's kind of strange only because it's easier in Japan, only because, you know, it's a lot smaller country. If this is in America, they have regional ones in California, sometimes in New York, especially for 86 meetups, sometimes in the Midwest. But, you know, it's just a lot easier to get people out to these kind of things, especially since it's such a high concentration of people. You know, you might have to drive a few hours, but you're not having to take an entire week, right, to go somewhere if you want to go somewhere. Really cool information about the festival. You can just see that if you are a AE86 enthusiast, massive lot of them. Look how big that is, and how people went. Just huge lineup of cars too as well. All variations too. You know, people love every type of 86. There are pristine examples too as well. And looks like we're jumping right into the set from here. It looks like we are installing, gosh, what is this? Part of the rear subframe again, it looks like. This looks like the front end. Yeah, on the front end right here too as well. So we've got the firewall installed. Firewall installed. Looks like we're going to be doing the kind of rear subframe. Looks like it's going to be where the radiator goes to as well. We're running a lot of lines. It looks like we're running we've ran the hard lines from the braking system before, but it looks like the power steering reservoir. No. Sorry, this is a fuel pump. Sorry, fuel filter. In here, right there, fuel filter. Looks like we're going to group all these lines together to make sure that they get kind of locked in. Yeah, a lot of actually steps this part. That's great. Running a lot of wire. Not even really wire, it's tubing. And it looks like we have a lot of tubing we've got to run here too as well. So let's take a peek at the sets right now. Okay, jumping right into it, we have this part of the front subframe. It looks like I believe this is where the radiator sits. It looks like, not too sure which direction it goes, but it's nice and metal. You can kind of hear that. Pretty nice piece that goes on there. Then we have this massive length of tubing, hose, what have you. We're going to be doing a lot of cutting, it probably seems like, so I'll make sure that this gets kind of laid out and kind of loosened up, heated up, so that it's actually kind of easier to work with. We've got a nice little thick piece of hose too as well. There. And then we've got some CM screws. And that's it for this part. Empty. So I'm going to get everything set up and what we need and start getting this going. One thing I forgot to point out is actually on the instructions, there's this massive length of 230 millimeter ruler that you don't really need to have a ruler on hand. They actually give you one on the instructions too as well. I am going to be using that plus my metal ruler that I've been using just because it gives me a little bit, or I guess an area to actually cut this properly without having to like cut up the instructions too as well. Some people just say, hey, go ahead and like lay a piece of plastic here so you don't cut the instructions too as well. But I'm just going to use this. I'm going to measure it kind of roughly out on this and then cut on this too as well. So just a kind of a side note. All right, first things first, we've got 3 lengths of hose at 450 millimeters each. So 1, 2, 3, and then 100 millimeter length too as well. And then looks like a 8 millimeter length of the kind of bigger tube they've got here. So I'm going to go ahead and get this kind of laid out so that it'll be done quickly, and just make sure that these are all kind of ready to go. All right, to get things started, we're going to do the length of 450, and this is a 230 millimeter ruler here. So what I'm going to do is actually just take this and measure out 230, right? Kind of bring that over here, measure out 220, and that'll be our 450. Now, one thing to kind of remember is that these kits always give you a little bit of leeway in case you screw up. So I'm just going to kind of mark that. I'm not going to cut this fully. I'm going to kind of mark that just like that. I'll just pull this up and cut it like that. That wasn't a super clean cut. Oh, actually, no, it looked pretty good. It didn't look pretty clean when I did it, but looks like we're good. What I'm going to do too, instead of measuring it out each time, it's just we have to do 3 lengths of the same. Just kind of, I won't say cheat a little, but just get it done quickly rather than having to measure it out each time. That 450 right here. Good. Drop one of these lengths. Measure out 450 again. Okay, that felt like it moved a little bit in my hand. So if it felt a little bit like that, I'm just going to re-length it. Yeah, see, look at that. It moved a little bit. Excellent. On that spot right there. Good. All right, so 3 lengths of 450, and I've got this little length here. Now this one should be 100 millimeters, and so instead of using this ruler, I'll use this one here. Sure, we're all good. You can even double check your own ruler. You can see, oh, okay, cool. Does this actually work? Boom, money. Looks really good. Perfect. All right. Measured 100. Excellent. Now this is the extra piece. This is 100. Put that over here. Put the extra piece on the other side, just to make sure you don't kind of mess that up. All right. And then the last one is a bigger piece of the hose that we had right here. Now they wanted 8 millimeters of this, so they did give us a good amount too. So luckily, I'm not gonna be too worried. I'm gonna double check the instructions to make sure. looks good. So yeah, 8mm of this. Use my ruler here. This is a 10. Just make sure we're kind of nuts on. A little bit hard to see. Harder to see. Because I want to make sure that I'm doing this correctly. I'm actually just pull this to the side. Where's that 10? There it is. How about right here? Excellent. And here's our 8mm slice right there. Cool. And it got a little extra, which is nice. And I'm just going to hang on to that because hopefully I got that right. And if not, we got some extras. All right, so here are all of our hoses, 3 450s, 100, and the 8mm. Great. Let's get over to step number 2. Okay, we're back, and I had to kind of figure out with the instructions on how the orientation was, but this is the subframe piece that we're installing. Apparently it has a lot of the motors and stuff, or it's going to be mounting the motors with the headlights, but yeah, so you're in this orientation here, and you look at these 2 tabs that we're going to be actually mounting here. There's one on one side and one on the other side, and there's 2 holes that we're going to be mounting right there. So you just take this, you flip it over, and you place it right inside those holes. Get it aligned right, and it'll fall right into place just like that. And then take this, flip it over, hold it there while we take a screwdriver and some CM screws. And I should have had this ready, but I didn't. CM screws. And screw it onto those 2 holes. Do I have that line right? Maybe not. I had it on this side, but it looks like I'm missing this other side right here. Okay, I screwed up. I actually had this backwards, so I turned it around. These little tabs I noticed are supposed to be facing in the inside of the vehicle. Put it in there. Mounting holes right here, and when you get it aligned right, it should fit real nice. I was wondering why these bolt holes weren't lining up before. Now looks like they are kind of. Let me double check this real quick. There we are. There it is. Okay, cool. Got it aligned. Now it's looking good. That's the great thing about this kit too, is that you kind of have to try hard to screw up, which is really nice. Like that, I was completely off with a lot of the alignment, and it just didn't fit. So after actually looking at the instructions and studying the pictures, all right, let's take a look at that. Awesome. So that's a bracket, I guess, where the radiator here will sit, and some of the motor stuff for the headlight retractors will go to as well when we get to that part. But that step is complete. Okay, flipping this over, we're going to be taking one of our 450 lines, 450 millimeter lines, and we're actually going to be weaving this through these holders here. Let's see here, come on, feet now. A little bit more difficult only because it is the hoses are a little bit thicker. They're definitely being held down. I'm surprised we didn't put these holders in afterwards, but feeding these in here. 1, 2. The third one down here. 2 as well. And this is actually the fuel line up to the fuel filter. So this actually goes back under here to the fuel tank. Now, this is kind of strange because they say, hey, put this right. There's a, gosh, you can't even see it. A little slot right here. Let me see if I can zoom in for you. A little slot right there. See that? She's like, get that in there. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. Well, how the heck are you supposed to do that? I'm wondering if I should unbolt this so I can get this line in there. Let's see if I can. Just so I can get this line in there. I'll bolt it back up after. Again, this is our battery compartment too. Looks like that it will pop up a little bit. So I'll just give it a little bit of room. There it is. Screw that a little bit. Simulating. Hose in there and there. Good. Now I'm going to tighten this down. Oops. Zoom back out. I'm sorry you couldn't see that. I just unbolted these 4 bolts. I'm on the fuel tank to allow us a little bit of room to get a fake fuel line into the tank. And hopefully I'll stay put too. Normally, actually, I think this wouldn't go into this hole on the real car. I believe it would go more inside to the top where the actual fuel pump is inside the fuel tank. So not entering through the tank that way. But it's a model. Alright, so let's zoom back out fully. Make sure this is in focus. I'm going to flip this over. Find this fuel line coming in here. I'm going to double check and make sure actually it went through. It did feed through that. Okay. There's a little holder right here. Fed through that holder. And it's going to go right to the fuel filter right there. Make sure you guys can see that fuel filter right there. Right there, that black thing right there. Lean this on the side. Can you see it right there? Yeah, you guys can see it right there, right? Kind of sneaky. Actually, a pretty good shot right through the engine bay hole. Now, am I gonna run into the same problems? Sure looks like it. I'm gonna take these tweezers, seem to work really well, and then just stick the nose, the tip tweezers through the hose, expand it a little bit, give myself a little bit of room. Slide this on right in the bottom. And it is a little bit of a challenge. I'm sorry you can't see it. Try to get an angle so I can actually do it too. You can see it. All right. Looks good. Fuel line looks a little long, so I'm going to pull this back out just a little bit more slack right here. You can see it right there, the fuel filter, connected it right there. Boom, boom. Looks good. Okay. Okay, looking actually deeper in the instructions, the fuel tank line, I just pull it out of the tank here. Looks like we are actually missing something we should have routed through, but you can kind of see it there. There's a little holder right here. I'm kind of poking at it. You can see it down there, maybe. Let's see. Right there. You can see it right there. Right there. I'm going to feed the line in there and then into the tank. But also, got to mention, and then the instruction they just kind of light it out, is that these other two 450 lines are going to be running the same length. We're not attaching them to anything. I think that's the reason why they just wanted to have us run this line first, is because this one goes through the fuel filter. These other lines are just going to be running the length of the vehicle and then be attached later. I do not know what to, but they are going to be all fed through this loop down here, just to kind of keep it clean. So we're going to have to do a little finagling to get that in there. Make sure it looks nice and clean. And this is why they give you tweezers, but I'm not using theirs right now. Oops. So this is the little difficulty of using that. I don't recall if I actually glued this down. And if I had, I am going to do that right now because it's kind of a pain in the butt. I will actually see, maybe I want to glue it down after I get these lines run, because the bracket just popped off. A little glue ain't gonna hurt nobody. So I'm gonna feed these other lines first. Make them nice. And they're all gonna be going inside the gas tank. And there's another one that popped off. So I didn't glue any of these down, and I think I need to now. So let's see here. Which one goes to the fuel filter? That's okay. They're actually all going to the same place. So we're going to grab some glue right now. Some glue. It's my tweezers. Nothing crazy. That in. To feed these lines again. Have to let that set just a little bit. Get this one. Actually, I might get that one in after. Yeah, let's see. Pulling it out. Go ahead and get this one fed too. And I can try to get these all set without messing around with these too much. And these lines, I get the realism. I really do. I get how like this looks really good and really cool. But man, it is sometimes a pain in the butt with these lines because they do not want to stay. You know what the funny thing is though? These lines, I believe on the real car, all hard lines. So they're all just kind of set. There's no messing about with vinyl. They're all metal. So it's probably even harder to work with than the vinyl, to be honest with you. Oopsies. Now we're getting all screwy. Let's get this thing out of the way. Let this cement set rather than just kind of messing around with this too much. I do actually want this one in. The other one's going to get fed in later. That one needs to get put in right now. Alright, go ahead and get this other one in. It probably is a little bit easier. Do it this way. Myself. Sorry if you're not going to be able to see this properly. But it is being blocked by the differential, which has been screwed down. And I wish we had installed this with cement many parts ago. Okay, got that placed in there. I can see. I'm going to let this set a little bit. Make sure that these other lines don't get too messed up. But this cement usually doesn't take too long to work and activate. Okay, we'll come back when this sets. Okay, I've been struggling with this for probably about 30 minutes trying to get this one set in. It kept popping off with the other lines in right there, and it's still not set. You can even see some of the paint being kind of melted off because of the cement. Now here's the thing: this body's metal. This is plastic. This is a plastic cement, and you know it's gonna do its thing, right? The other part is that there's that clip down here near the rear diff, and I'm just saying, forget it. I don't really care. That one is such a pain in the butt to get to. I tried gluing it and getting it all set. I don't really care anymore. This is my model. I really don't care if it like these lines look super clean or not. You know, I don't even know to be honest with you where they go yet. And they're supposed to just feed these into the gas tank. These three right here. You know, if they're being blocked, these three right here. Obviously, one is the line to the fuel filter that we installed, but I'm just gonna say forget about it, and then just put them into the tank and not worry about that connection point down there. Obviously, this is not a real car, right? We're not rolling this down the road, so I'm saying I'm making the executive decision, and the fact that this is my model, nobody else's, and saying forget it. I'm not gonna worry about that clip. It's too much of a pain in the butt to try to get glued in there. You know, I don't want to spend forever just trying to hold this. I was holding this clip down for like 20 minutes straight just to make sure that, hopefully it gets like enough, what do you call it? Like cure enough the glue cures enough so that it can actually, not, be able to hold it a little bit itself. Obviously, this is the battery bank right here. I'm going to take these three lines that go to the front, and I'm just going to kind of fold these in right where they're supposed to be. Right there. And then just put this back on. Right. This is my model. I'll do what I want. If I really, really want to, I can put that back in there. This is not a real suspension. This is not a real car. It doesn't matter too much. If this was a real car, if we were going down the highway, at highway speeds, and you're getting wear and tear left and right, yeah, maybe this is something that you'd want to, take the time to do whatever. But I really just want to get this part done because I've been kind of struggling with this little connection point for past, again, 20, 30 minutes right there. Kind of a pain in the butt. But I'm going to call that part done right now, and we'll move on to the next part, which is actually attaching this 100 millimeter hose over in the front. So we got to get this thing flipped over. So just hang on 1 second. Okay, for this 100 millimeter hose that we have right here, it is actually going to be going right here on the brake booster connector. This is probably the first one that we have going to an actual brake caliper. So we're going to actually make this a little bit bigger here by using my tweezers, because I know that it's going to be pretty tight. Expand that just a little bit. Fit this on just like this. Gosh, that is so tight. Alright, that looks good. We're going to take this hose and we're going to feed it into this side fender. You can actually see a little gap. We're going to be feeding this through right here. Shove that down right in there. And if we take this and rotate this, okay, I see where I screwed up. I'm going to pull this out from the fender here, because this is actually just going into the C channel, if you guys can see that. And you can actually see exactly where we're supposed to stick this. If I zoom in, right here, see that little notch? That's where the hose is supposed to go. So we're going to take this hose, feed it right through that little notch there. So if my hand's blocking it, right side there. Then we'll take this and flip it out. It looks like it's come through, because it looks like there's supposed to be a little, whoops, see that little hole right there? There it is, see that little hole right there? That's where the hose is supposed to pop out. I'll try feeding it a little bit more. I think we got it. Yeah, look at that. Top out right there. Looks real good. Pop that out. Give me a little line. Excellent. And this is going to go right here to this brake caliper right there. So I'm going to feed the line this way. Let me see if I can get this actually positioned so you can actually see. Give me a second. Yep, it's going to feed in this way. A little more. I'm going to take my tweezers, expand this just a little bit. And then put it right to the brake caliper right there. And there you go. See that? Brake line. Sorry if it might be a little dark. You can see it connected right there. Right there. Perfect. Looks good. Alright, and that's the thing. We're not done yet. We have still a little bit more to do. Okay, and then the last part here, we're actually taking these longer pieces, I believe, and gathering these kind of together with this 8mm piece that we had previously cut. So we just kind of feed these inside of here, right? And then we got these other two right here. Feed this in. And this other one too. I believe you're supposed to fit all 4 of these. I'm not too sure. Let me double check again. Okay, so I think I got it. I had to review the instructions many times, but I think we're connecting all these fuel rail hoses. You know, they all go to the injectors right here, into just kind of this one collection right here. So we're taking the 8mm piece that we had cut previously, sliding these over these 2, right? And we have 2 more, a little bit shorter, get slid right inside of this. Right here, 1. And then the 4th one. Man, the realism sometimes is great, but it's also kind of like, wow, this is sometimes a little excessive. But man, it looks so cool. And I believe this one you don't need to go in all the way. They're just like, get it all in here. These 2 can be kind of hanging out. It's 2 longer ones. I'm going to go ahead and just open this up just a little bit, because that's the great thing about this vinyl. You can just kind of pull it open. Cool. I mean, that's good enough right now. They're all together. That's the biggest thing. We had 2 lines basically for the Tivis going in, and then also for the fuel injectors. It looks like this line popped out. So I just need to put that one back in. Down here. Excellent. We're set for that. All right, so we haven't seen the engine in a while. We've got a little engine action going on, which is awesome, but that is it. So thank you very much for joining me today with this part number 38 for the Toyota Sprinter Trueno AE86 build by DeAgostini. Again, what we did, we ran a lot of lines today. We actually added that bracket in the front of the vehicle. Also did a lot of kind of hose work stuff. It was kind of an ordeal today, just because it took a long time to get the one piece, and actually the bracket kept falling off. And I just said, hey, you know what? I don't worry about it. Let's not worry about it. So thanks again for joining me today on part number 38. If you like this, please give it a like, a subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Keeps me really motivated to keep producing these. I really want to get through this all anyway, so it really help. Let's take a look at the next part. So it looks like we have some, gosh, what is that? I don't know, but it looks like that looks like the motor. So that might be the headlight motor assembly that we might need to be installing too as well. Looks like some more brackets too as well in the front end. So look forward to that in part number 39 when we're going to continue this build. So thanks again for joining me today. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.